Have you ever felt stuck in your own thoughts, struggled to find new ideas, and was annoyed by creating the same boring content until you felt the dreaded burnout? We've all been there. Trust me. It's important to take breaks, let your mind wander, have your thoughts guide you and influence your shots. Just create. This time, I decided to do something before it happened again. I convinced my team to take a trip to the Outer Banks. The goal is simple: to capture the perfect image. The Outer Banks is a collection of barrier islands stretching over 100 miles along the east coast from North Carolina to Virginia, made up of marsh, sand, and water, which all changes shape over time. I took my team on an adventure to explore this place close to home and go all out to capture it with all of our gear. I have only 3 days to explore all 7 of them. But more important than the trip itself are the people I'm going to travel with. This series is about the adventures we go on, the images we capture, and sharing the memories we make along the way. This is Finding the Perfect Shot. We packed up all of our gear and set out to our first location. None of us have been on a vehicle ferry before, so this was going to be a new experience for all of us.
First ferry of 2 ferries on the way to Ocracoke. I'm really disappointed because I didn't bring 25 cents in order to use this thing.
All right, so we're at our first location, which is
the Ocracoke Lighthouse. We didn't have much time here before we had to catch the next ferry, but what we learned about this island was very interesting.
the original lighthouse was actually on a little sandbar right in the inlet here. That eventually burnt down. That's when they moved it because that sandbar, it's no longer there. Up for Ocracoke is like the pirate history, you know, Blackbeard history. A lot of different stories here, but he was killed here.
At our last location for the day, we witnessed one of the most beautiful sunsets of our lives. It was at this moment that I didn't feel the monotony that I felt before this trip. I allowed myself to just create with no clear objective. I felt like I gave myself the freedom to experience new things and take in the moments as it came. We had only 20 minutes of good light left before it became too dark. Capturing the lighthouse became a real challenge, and we had to work quickly.
Did you get the perfect shot tonight?
I think I got as close to the perfect shot as I could get tonight.
As a creator, there are few things more rewarding than reviewing the footage you've captured after a long day of shooting. It's a time to reflect on your work, analyze your approach, and think about ways to improve for next time. Looking back at your footage is a lot different than when you're in the moment. When you're in the middle of shooting, you're focused on the task at hand, capturing the shot you need, and making sure everything's set up correctly. When you're reviewing the footage, you can take a step back and look at your work with fresh eyes. You can see things that you might have missed before. Maybe you noticed that your lighting could have been better in a certain scene, or that you missed an opportunity to capture an important moment. These observations can help you adjust your approach for next time, learn from your mistakes, and plan for the future. After looking through our footage from yesterday, we packed up all of our gear and headed out on our next adventure. This is Rodanthe, a small town in the middle of the Outer Banks, where the houses are literally in the water. Well, some of them at least.
From this whole place used to be a line of houses. So there's a couple left here, you can see them. But man, who knows, in 5 years, this whole thing may be different.
Places like this can change in an instant.
This coastal system expected to continue to impact the Southeast in the days ahead.
It's important for creators like us to capture the beauty of this area, because it might not always be there, and this place was a good reminder of that. During our journey towards Nags Head, we stumbled upon another fascinating landmark, the Bodie Lighthouse. I think the coolest thing about this place wasn't necessarily the lighthouse itself. It was the people I got to experience it with. Some of the best memories come from the most spontaneous decisions.
This is like amazing.
Hey, we can see it.
So we hiked up this hill, and then we get to the top of the hill, and there's massive sand dunes everywhere. I had no idea this existed. Lived here my whole life.
After hiking our way up the 90-foot dunes, we came across this guy.
1991, I did the same thing. I came up from Wilmington. I came here to go surfing. And Kitty Hawk Heights was pretty much the only place open, in the wintertime. Once you do it, you're hooked.
Yeah,
it's fun.
The Wright brothers took a chance on something they believed in, and it quite literally changed the world forever.
Can you imagine laying on that wing next to an engine, boards flipping that he called propellers, cut you in half at any minute?
I think as a content creator, we have a drive similar to them. Our images and videos might not change the world to the extent as theirs, but by being able to tell stories in a way that inspires and motivates, I think is important. Without stories, everything will eventually be forgotten. As the trip was coming to an end, we had just one lighthouse left, the Currituck Lighthouse.
Watch this. If you take a little bit of grass, get some of this little green stuff, this, look, you come bearing gifts, look how happy they get. Hey, you ready? You want some of this? He's grateful. He's a good pony.
The Outer Banks Islands were unbelievable, and we were lucky to have the opportunity to explore and capture them. However, this trip was a reminder of how much the world has to offer, and how much we have to learn. It made me realize that sometimes stepping out of our comfort zones and taking on new challenges can lead to some of the most rewarding experiences of our lives. As we set out on this journey, we were not just capturing beautiful images, but we were also capturing our own growth. We had to push ourselves out of our comfort zones, whether it was hiking through rugged terrain, getting lost, or capturing the perfect shot. This trip was a valuable reminder that true growth and self-discovery can only happen when we are willing to step out of our comfort zones and take on new challenges. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey, the lessons and the memories we create along the way. The world is full of amazing places, and it's worth taking the time to explore and appreciate it.
You're ruining my shot, man.
Off to places we've never been, to see things we've never seen before, and then capture them.
Now getting the shot, Sammy?
This is the shot. This is the first shot.
And we can't get it because Parker is not logged into the
I
drum.
don't know the password.
Welcome to the Outer Banks. Chasing the sunset. Right now, Parker is flying the drone. We just found some dolphins. It's called Rodanthe.
It's a little dirty.
Yeah. You got more in your pockets?
That's a printer.
That is a